Hello everyone. So welcome to the class of business to business marketing. So today we will be we had in the last class we had stopped with the balance scorecard and strategy maps, and we had taken an example of mobile, right, which was directly picked up from the Harvard Business Review, right, and written by the original authors of balance scorecard, their published work. So that is what we had discussed, and we had taken a case study after that and given a tentative solution. And finally, I had given you a task. Maybe I think you must have completed that task of doing a balance scorecard, building a balance scorecard for the organization that you are either working or you are associated with. So today we will be talking about some more important concepts which are related to strategy, in the B2B world. So we will talk about two important strategies. One is which are required to manage the products. So strategies for managing products in the B2B world. So the first thing that we talk about is the product life cycle, and the second one is the technology adoption life cycle. So although PLC and technology adoption life cycle is used both in consumer and B2B products, but here the orientation would be slightly different. So the way you have to look at it will be slightly different from what you were thinking in the consumer case. So let us start with the first one. So the product life cycle, the concept, actually Levitt had given this concept long back. So we talked about what is exactly a PLC, and a PLC is nothing but like a organism. So which leaves takes birth, then grows, matures, and then dies out. Same thing he had said about the product life cycle. So the product also has a similar kind of stage, it follows a similar kind of stage. So as you can see here, so there is an introduction stage, so where there is a small sapling and then it grows into a plant, right, and a growing plant with more number of branches and leaves and fruits. Then it becomes a mature tree, which is very old, and now it is becoming a big huge tree, and finally the tree dies out and comes out to the wood is then used for some other purpose. So this concept suggests that products tend to go through different stages during the life cycle, and different marketing strategies are needed at each stage. But the interesting thing is that when we are talking about marketing strategies that are needed here, there would be a clear cut difference between B2C and B2B. So for example, the same strategies that you are using in your B2C might not work well for B2B because of the obviously the characteristics of the two kind of industry, okay, the two products, okay. So generally if you see the product life cycle looks something like this, right. If you talk about a B2C case, so it grows and then declines. So this is the introduction stage, then the growth stage, the maturity and the decline, and then even sometimes people put one more stage, the 5 stage, they say the consolidation stage. But let us understand the 4 important stages first, okay. Now this is how the B2C product grows, right, the consumer product grows. But if you look at a product life cycle for the B2B market, here it is slightly different. Now if you can look at it, this is the introduction stage and the growth stage, and this is the maturity stage, and then there is a decline. Now what is happening, if you can look the difference between these two models, it is very clearly visible to you that in this stage there is a steep rise, right, and here the rise is not steep, it takes time, right, and after it takes certain time then it stays for some more time, and then the fall is very fast. The fall is generally very fast. Now this is not again necessary for all kinds of B2B products, right. Now if you look at some other products which are highly high tech in nature, so the it will be something like this, right, and then it might fall. So what is happening, it takes a lot of time, right, to grow, and it stays for a very little time in maturity, and then again it falls very rapidly. So this is generally for a, you will find for a high tech product. So the PLC is actually different, right, and that is why if you see the pricing, the promotion, the product mix, and even the availability, right, all things will change according to the type of product. Okay. So, introduction up to this much it has been shown, then here to this phase is a growth phase, and then this is the maturity, right. So, the maturity comes up to this much, from this to this, so long maturity is there, right, and finally the fall is happening, right. This is one. Now, in the introduction if you see what has happened, there is a slow sales growth, right. Even companies the profit is non-existent. Why? Because lots of money has been put into the R&D, especially in B2B, right, cases, lots of money. Now, for example, there are very popular cases, for example, this case of DuPont. So, DuPont introduced a product called Kevlar. Now, Kevlar was a kind of a new product which was extremely strong and had a very robust product. Now, this product was started getting used in different kinds of products, in for example, military products, in kind of where the strength of the material was a very important parameter, right. Now, developing this product itself was a big huge challenge for DuPont, because DuPont took immense time, right, to develop this product and then to commercialize it. Okay. So, this entire journey from R&D to commercialization actually in the B2B space sometimes can take years and years. Okay. For example, a molecule developed by Pfizer, let us say the case of Viagra for example, where the company took maybe close to a decade's time to develop it, right. And then you do not have much time to stay, because once it is out into the market, the competitors start rushing to produce the same product or a similar product. Okay. Now, how do you deal with such kind of a situation? For example, another case that comes to my mind is the vaccines, for example, that recently happened in the COVID case. Now, you took lot of time, but then once the first product came to the market, then immediately there were many versions of it, right. So, that is a challenge in the B2B market especially. So, there will be slow sales growth, almost negligible, you can say very little sales will happen. Profits are non-existent because your cost is more than the profit. So, rather there will be a loss that can happen because your profit is less than the cost. So, you are not making much profit. Expenses are heavy and few competitors are there. So, this is one more challenge, because there are few competitors. Sometimes if it is a first time product or a radical product to the market, maybe the market will not even understand it and they will not accept the product. So, the market acceptance rate is very slow, because the market is not educated about the product, because it is not like a surf detergent or a soap that you can advertise and create an awareness, right. So, B2B products cannot be advertised like you advertise a B2C product. So, even the education, that means the awareness that is to be created, has to be done in a personal relationship basis in the B2B market. So, the product takes a lot of time to percolate into the market and get an acceptance in the market, right. So, this sometimes behaves as a not as a strength. If it is few competitors, please do not understand that it is a strength for the company, rather it is a weakness for the company in many cases, because the market does not know about the product and it is not aware about the product. So, for example, I will tell you about calculators. Now, when calculators came for the first time, it was for a very long period of time that Casio did not make much of a profit, right. And that almost took a few decades, because then what happened, new players started coming in, and we all know how important calculator is for everyday life. So, new competitors came into the market, they started building the awareness of the product, and as a result of it, everybody, when they contributed, the market size started growing, and then the companies who had this first mover advantage, they showed a better performance than the rest. But if in a B2B competition or a market, the product is a radical or a new kind of product and only one person is manufacturing it, it would take immense amount of time to spread into the market or percolate into the market. Okay. So, what is the strategy that you would adopt? So, for slowly accepted products, that that is the products that require high level of learning. Now, what is high level of learning? Which kind of products are would require high level of learning? For example, let us say software products, right. So, you are using a new software, for example. How many of us are comfortable with a new software? Very few. Maybe if somebody is a programmer or somebody, he will understand the software faster than us, but a person like me, I will take lot of time. Now, so the point is, for slowly accepted products, the marketing strategy should concentrate on market development efforts, like building awareness and encouraging trial among the customers, right. So, there have been cases where companies have put in lots and lots of money in giving free demonstrations, right, and whenever possibility was there for giving samples, so they gave lot of free samples to the public, so that the public or the user, the potential customer, could get an idea about what is the product all about. Even for example, I have given electrical typewriters, which is an old example. You can even think of Apple's products, right, although they are not B2B products, but Apple's products. Now, what Apple does is very interesting. So, Apple would try to whenever they launch a product, in the same during the launch they would try to give a signal about their forthcoming product to the market, so that the customers are having a get a knowledge about the forthcoming product, the future product, and they are ready for it. So, in their mind they position in the consumer's mind about the forthcoming future product. For products that have a potential for rapid acceptance, now this was for slow products, due to a low level of learning, the marketing strategy should be evolved to meet intense competition. Now, although calculators I have mentioned it, but still I said to you that calculators took lot of time, right, because when it came in the first time, there were not many people, there was not many distribution channels for it, and there were not many takers for it. So, people had a urge, but they did not know how to fulfill that urge, right. So, this strategy was to should be to meet the intense competition. Okay. The next stage is the growth characteristics, where the sales would climb rapidly and new competitors will enter into the market, profits will increase, overall profits will increase, and prices will stabilize or slightly fall. Now, because in the B2B, as I said, the B2B, B2C, the difference is that in B2C what happens is, you generally companies use a penetration pricing, right. So, penetration pricing, and in B2B generally we use a skimming pricing, right. So, the simple reason is that here you try to create an awareness, and as the volume increases, when the demand for the product increases, you slightly increase the cost of the products. For example, Hindustan Unilever Limited recently in the last 2-3 months has increased the cost of its products almost 2 to 3 times, 2 times almost in the last 6 months, right. So, this is a penetration strategy they are using, and that is a little separate story, because they have a very strong brand presence in the market. So, they have the ability to do it. But what happens in the case of B2B products? So, since you know that you do not have a long life in the B2B products, so there will be competitors coming in and new technology will come in. So, the manufacturer or the producer, it tries to maximize its profits at the earliest, so that it knows that the fall will be also very drastic in nature. So, that is why they try to maximize the cost initially and then slowly bring down the cost to meet the competition. Okay. So, what is the strategy? Improve product design to increase market reach. So, create new designs. So, product designs will improve. So, through the new designs, the company can create differentiation in the market. Okay. Better distribution to ensure product availability to customer. Now, you have produced the product. Now, if this product is not available, then what would it do? So, when I talked about calculator, for example, in initial stage there was nobody, but slowly as more competition grew, now this was important for them to increase the channel availability and the distribution, so that people got it easily. So, they did not have to run from pillar to post to get a calculator. And here, since the competition will increase, now the player will, the manufacturer will try to reduce the price to build up a competition in the market. Now, example is, if you see, Intel tries to do this through a cannibalization strategy. So, a strategy in marketing called cannibalization strategy. So, what Intel does is, basically Intel tries to come up with always a new product before the old product is completely obsolete, right. Now Intel for example let us say talks about the Pentium chips, right. So Intel has come with several variants of the Pentium chips, right, and once it comes with a new variant, its initial price will be very high and slowly it will tend to reduce and then come to a very limited price, and at the same time they might come with the develop or a introduce a new variant into the market. So, by this they are always trying to stay ahead in the market by creating a sense of innovativeness, developing a new product, and also trying to pass on the benefits of the old product to the customers. Okay. The third stage is the maturity stage where the sales volume peaks. Now, here the competition is very heavy. So, number of competitors will increase. Obviously, the number of competitors cannot be as high as in other industries, because obviously B2B has their own limitations of entry barriers, and decrease in costs, the cost will decrease, prices will drop, right, because many people are producing and the early mover advantage has been taken up by the pioneering company. So, now they will try to drop the cost and try to beat the competition. Okay. So, what is the strategy? Keep the existing customers satisfied. So, when you have already let us say somebody is supplying to IIT scientific instruments. Now, the same company can initially has given us at a very high price, but the competition intensifies. They try to make us happy by offering us heavy discounts, special incentives and all, right. Enter new markets. So, now you are in a kind of a matured stage. So, you can enter new markets and cut costs to maintain the profit margin, and here since your learning curve is very steep. So, your learning is very steep. So, you can now mend ways to cut down your cost of manufacturing or your cost of production, and use this cost the profit to fight the competition. Okay. The last stage is, if you see, is the decline stage, where the volume decline is happening at a very rapid pace, and prices are, profitability is diminishing and costs become counter optional now optimal. That means, now here the company is in a stage where it is not making any more profit. So, it is just trying to utilize the assets that have been already used for producing this product, and now they will make a trade off, okay, whether even we are achieving whatever we have invested it or not. So, if that also becomes negative in nature, then they would like to completely stop or move out of the market. So, you must have seen cases where companies are selling off some of their units to their some other companies, some mergers are happening or some takeovers happen. So, why it is happening? Because the company feels now there is no point in continuing with this business, it is better to stop it through either closing the unit or to sell it off to somebody else who is maybe still a specialized producer in that particular product. Now, what are the strategies? You withdraw the product from the market. So, many products are you will see they are withdrawn from the market, from the company, right. So, Ford Motors, for example, Nokia, you must have heard about these examples where the company has pulled back the product from the market, right. So, maybe it is tires, it is cars, it could be anything, right. Develop a substitute product for replacement. So, now thinking of a new product, right, and reduce costs substantially to make some profit. So, by cutting down unnecessary reach to the market, they are cutting down the cost substantially, right. So, now they are not thinking of making too many profits. So, this is basically, if you look at it is like a BCG case, which I will come to you, I will explain. So, let us take one example where this 4 have been explained. The case of typewriters, a very old classic example. So, in the 1800s, the introduction stage of this product happened when commercial typewriters were made available to the public. But shortly thereafter, what happened? It went to the growth stage. Typewriters were used in businesses, homes, offices, everywhere, right. So, it became a very growth intensive product, and it was giving more profit. So, many variants came, many companies came into place. And then what happened? Typewriters stayed in the maturity phase until the 1980s. So, almost more than 100 years, when emerging technologies pushed them to decline. So, in emerging technologies, for example, computers came in a big way. So, you had now today you have mobiles also where you can type and write something, but at least computers came in a big way, and then finally it declined with the advent of the electronic word processor. So, and then computers, laptops and smartphones. So, all this added to the decline of the product, and it completely went out of the market. So, today it is a vintage, it is a product which you do not find everywhere. So, maybe you will find some old piece with somebody who is interested in maintaining old products. So, he must have kept it, otherwise getting a typewriter is very rare, unless you go to some court you will find a few people doing some typewriting or all, otherwise it is very rare to see these things. So, only in government offices, a few places you find it. So, this is an example how a typewriter has gone through these phases. So, every product can be explained through this phase, right. And as I was saying, it can be explained through a BCG matrix also. For example, in a BCG matrix you have 4 stages. Now, the question mark, growth, maturity and decline, right. So, we say this is question mark and this is the star, growth or star, right. Then this is cash cow, okay. And finally, the dog or decline stage is called dog stage. So, what happens here? If you look, the company is new into the market and it has hardly any presence in the market. So, here if you see, it is new and profitability is low here, right, high here, high, and this is low, right. So, new product, existing product or old product, you can say, this is how it would look. So, it is a new product, for example, question mark is a new product with low margins, growth is a new product, almost new product, still no new product with high margin now, you are earning high profits. Maturity is an old product and with a higher margin, still cash cow where you make lot of money, and this is the decline stage. So, you can just understand it as a kind of a similar kind of a model to explain the product life cycle. Okay. Now, coming to the technology adoption life cycle, the second important thing that we started with is, which was developed by Geoffrey Moore, right, which is the famous Moore's law and all we have heard of. So, the model describes the adoption of new product by 5 adopter groups, where each adopter group has a different psychographic and demographic profile. Now, he talks about there are 5 people. Moore says that there are 5 kinds of people which when it comes to technology adoption, and it is very, very, very important for organizations to understand. If you understand them well, then you can create better segments in the market, make a better reach to the market, right. So, who are these 5 people? The first one is called innovators or technology enthusiasts, then second is called early adopters or visionaries, right. Then third one is called early majority or pragmatists, fourth late majority or conservatives, and fifth one is laggards or skeptics. Okay. So, these are the 5 groups of people as Moore had explained. Okay. Now, innovators, there are only 2.5%. Generally, research has said that there are around 2.5% people who can be termed as innovators for any market, right. Early adopters are 13.5%, and then there is some gap that comes here. If you can see, this is a gap, right, which is called a chasm, right. Now, I will explain these things. So, then you have early majority 34%, 34% late majority and 16% is laggards. Now, if you add up 68, 74, 84, 84, 90, 100. Okay. So, this 100% is divided in this way and each player has its role. So, if you are thinking, let us say for a B2B product manufacturer, these innovators are the very important people because they are the ones who will try this product, and once they try this product, then they spread the word to the market about the product. Okay. So, what kind of a product it is, how it is performing, how it can be helpful for your cost cutting or your time saving or whatever it is, right. So, companies have to always make a database of maintain this database of innovators, who are the potential innovators, right. So, if you look at the innovators, they are interested in exploring the latest innovation and possess significant influence over how products are perceived by others. So, what they feel is nothing but a reflection of how people would accept this product or how they will conceive this product. Okay. It lacks control over the resource commitments. So, these technological enthusiasts or innovators are the most important people, as I had said, at least for the B2B marketers, because they are the lead users and they give you the idea about how the market would react to the particular product. So, they are kind of a test market situation. So, where you can test your product with them. The second is the early adopters, who are the true revolutionaries and they have access to the resources, right. now possess significant influence over how products are perceived by others. Again, they also do influence a lot, frequently demand special modifications that are difficult to provide. So, these people are the ones who will ask for some change to the product. So, if this could be there, that could be there, then it would be better, this kind of ifs and buts, and desire to exploit the innovation for a competitive advantage. So, they would like to use this for their advantage. So, this new product they would like to use it and take a competitive advantage. The early majority people are the ones who are the third, who make the bulk of the technology purchase. So, they are the ones who buy a lot or major purchase they make, right. And they seek product from the market leader with a proven track record of providing useful productivity improvements. So, they would follow up with the market leader and they would try to use the product of the market leader so that they can also take advantage of improving their productivity. The conservatives are the second last or the late majority, who are price sensitive people. They purchase products to avoid being left behind. So, they do not want to be left behind, they want to be part of the mainstream, and that is why they buy these products, but they come very late to the party. So, these people are the ones who contribute, no doubt, but they contribute during the maturity and decline stage. So, almost at the maturity stage. Okay. Pessimistic about their ability to derive any value. So, they feel they cannot derive much of value, but they have just taken part because everybody else has done so, right. The last group is the laggards. So, rather than potential customers, those individuals are ever present critics of the hype surrounding high technology products. So, these are generally laggards are the ones who will be the last to look at a product, a new technology based product, and then they would like to criticize upon it. This could have been improved, that could have been improved, this should not have been this price, that should have been this price, all kind of questions that they will be putting and criticisms would be put. So, these are the 5 types of people that Moore's had explained in his technology adoption cycle, and it is very important for us to understand that these 5 groups of people, they constitute the 100%, and these are the people who can affect the B2B market very severely. Now, as I said, now the innovators, as you see, innovators and the people who join the party early, they are the ones who will either create awareness or spread awareness about the product and spread maybe good word of mouth. So, in this world of B2B, it is normal, promotions do not work. So, a good word of mouth is like a diamond to you for the B2B marketer. So, if this innovator, you can take a innovator and explain him about the product, and then if he is satisfied or she is satisfied, and then they try to spread about words about this, good words about this product, then that becomes a very important part of the competitive advantage for the company, right. So, automatically if the innovators give good word of mouth, because B2B market works basically on the word of mouth, right. So, people are very rational and they would not buy anything out of impulsive behavior. So, if somebody has used it and he has felt and is speaking good for the product, automatically that becomes a point of acceptance for the others, right. So, that is why it is very important to understand the technology adoption cycle and invest heavily in these people, so that automatically the others will tend to follow, right. So, I think this is you are clear with this technology adoption cycle and the PLC and how it is differing in the B2B market, because B2B market characteristics are always already taught or explained to you. So, because these characteristics are different, they are purchased in bulk, the volume is very high, and they are rational purchasers, and they they do a lot of negotiation, and they are very quality conscious, and all these things are very important, and the cost of ownership is very important. So, that is why to understand how the technology adoption cycle happens is also of critical importance, because it takes a lot of time in the B2B space, right, and then there is not much of time left to stay at the top, because competition and new technology will come in. So, companies have to maximize their benefits as early as possible and try to utilize this people to understand the market and understand the behavior well, so that they can maximize their benefits. So, with this I will wind up this lecture today, and we will meet maybe in the next lecture. So, till then, take care. Thank you very much.